Yeah, hello and welcome to another update video about Cardano. In this video, I would like to do something a little bit different. I'll get to the immediate price analysis as well, but I want to start with taking a look at the longer term Cardano chart, just zooming out a little bit and just taking a look at it from a point of, hard fork point of view. So the recent hard forks, oftentimes they happened after a price increase, or other way around, we had a price increase before the hard forks happened. So I want to take a look at that. I want to show you when these hard forks actually happened, and we also want to take a look at what that could mean for the next hard fork. Very importantly, because some people asked me about, can you have a look at the chart and talk about the price potential around the Vasil hard fork, which is the next hard fork, which is coming in June. So let's take a look and let's just put on the chart the previous hard forks. So I just wanted to start. I did that before briefly, but I really wanted to spend a bit more time on that because it's now the time. It's April. In June it's coming. So what could that mean? So the first hard fork was here. I think it was in July 2020. This was here. You can see there was a nice price increase before that. And this was the so-called Shelly hard fork. So there you go, this was Shelly. Then we had, in March 21, we had the Mary hard fork. So this was somewhere here. I haven't looked up the days, but it doesn't really matter that much. So it was a Mary hard fork in March 21. And then we had the Alonso hard fork, and that was in September 21. So what we can see is that before every hard fork, with the announcements that happened before, there was all the buy the rumors, sell the news going on, as we typically see it. But is that really the whole story? Well, in my opinion, we need to be very, very careful, because the rumors go around that it's always, these price increases are always related to hard forks. And to a certain degree they are, because they might actually lead to a exaggeration of the uptrend in an environment where you already have an uptrend. Yeah. What I don't know is how it's going to happen, or what is going to happen if we are in an environment where we are going down in a downtrend. What happens if you have a hard fork in a scenario in which the crypto market is just going down? Because if we take a look at Bitcoin, and take a look, how did actually Bitcoin perform in these times? Because it's always important to understand. We always say, right, we had these hard forks, and before that you typically have a price increase, and that is true. We do, but why? Is it because of the hard fork, or is it because the market did go up anyway? So that's very important to know and very important to understand. So in that case, the time when a hard fork actually happened was just coincidence that it was actually very close to the peak of a bull market. Yeah. So as you can see here in the chart, that was July 2020, March 21, and September 21. So we want to take a look at the Bitcoin chart and take a look at how did Bitcoin perform actually in this period. So we can take a look here in July 2020. So as I said, I don't really know was the hard fork in the beginning or end of July, but I suppose it doesn't matter too much, because you can see that we were already in an uptrend for Bitcoin. So end of July 2020, it really started to kick off. So this was Shelly. Then we had in March 21, Mary hard fork. Yeah. And then we had in September 21, we did have we did have Alonso. Right. So what we can see is that Bitcoin was already back in an uptrend when these hard forks happened. Yeah. So it's just something to be aware of. However, what we can also see, for example, here in July 2020, that Cardano did perform better than Bitcoin. Yeah. So that is no surprise, because Cardano had a lower market cap. Then Bitcoin was going up quite strongly here before March 21. So this is pretty much related, in my opinion, mainly to the Bitcoin price increase. Of course, the Mary hard fork will have led to a little bit of buy the rumors, sell the news. After that, we saw the market flatten out and even saw a bit of a dip. And then Alonso, that was September 21. Here, Cardano very strong, whereas Bitcoin in September 21, it was starting to go up already, but after that it had another run, yeah. But it was also going up. So basically we have to make the conclusion that in these three instances, the market was already going up anyway. So it's just something to be aware of, because if we now talk about Vasil hard fork, which is going to happen in June, which will be Vasil, and that's hopefully going to be a little bit higher. We need to be aware that certainly good price potential because of Vasil, but we also need to understand that if the market is not in an uptrend, it could not turn out to be super bullish. Yeah, we just need to understand that. So it could look a little bit like that. Yeah, that would be amazing. But I'm just saying, if Bitcoin doesn't do that, then we might be in a bit of a situation here. So what I think, obviously, with Bitcoin, my preferred scenario and also my most likely scenario would be that Bitcoin would go down, obviously, and that can happen in a month or two, would go down into the region between 30K, below 30K. Yeah, so we talked about that extensively in the Bitcoin videos, and then it could go up. Now, what would be amazing if all of that happened before middle of May or so, and then from middle of May, we could start to see Bitcoin go to new all-time highs, and that could give ADA a really, really good performance boost. But the time is running, and if nothing happens soon, so Bitcoin completes its correction, or at least goes up in the short term, then we might actually not really see that full benefit of the Vasil hard fork. So it all depends, in my opinion, on how does the general crypto market perform. And in my opinion, it's crucial that Bitcoin finally completes its correction, and hopefully that will happen soon, so that we then can go back into new all-time high mode, yeah, and start to run, and that could then give Cardano that boost to really make new all-time highs for the Vasil hard fork. I mean, we need to be honest. I mean, I'm analyzing charts from an Elliott wave point of view, so the Vasil hard fork has, or the hard forks have been placed at periods where there have been peaks anyway, in my opinion. Yeah, maybe it shifted the time a little bit. Maybe Cardano wouldn't have pumped that early, because in September Bitcoin was not yet at the all-time high. Cardano was already, so obviously it has sort of an impact. But my view is that in the next larger wave up for Cardano, which would be a wave 3, we would reach levels above $4 and $4.50 anyway. So we wouldn't need a Vasil hard fork for that, but it can be the catalyst to get it going. Okay, it can be the catalyst, and it is one of these events where we can say with a higher probability that we might see actually a run before that. Because usually you see, in terms of with Elliott waves, you can't really tell someone, right, it's happening next week, it's happening in 2 weeks. That no TA will be able to do that, otherwise, or you have to, yeah, guess. Yeah. So, however, we have the Vasil hard fork coming in June. I think a very interesting event that will improve the network as well, and very important as well. And this can have an impact certainly, and it could be the trigger for the next major wave up. So that's how I see Vasil. Looking here in the short term, I mean, generally, what is good that I think for Cardano and many other cryptos, we are sort of in the last meters of the correction. We can see currently Cardano dancing around the 61.8% FIB level at 97 cents. In the last video, I showed you how Cardano broke below the 61.8% FIB level. And I said that it's looking like it's currently retesting it from below. So far, that has been accurate. So far, Cardano has not managed to break above that level again at 96, 97 cents. So far, it's looking even a little bit like a bearish flag here, which would indicate that it could break to the downside from here. If you break this obviously to the upside, then we can see higher prices. First resistance $1.01, in my opinion, a very important one for Cardano. But yeah, it's similar to what we had here. This was also a bearish flag out of which we broke to the downside. We have the same story here again. And yeah, it's in another Bitcoin sell-off that could be the trigger for Cardano to move down quite strongly. So far, as long as Cardano is not back above the 61.8% FIB level, I see further downside potential from a pattern point of view, but also in terms of you know, what this retracement has done. It has come down very low. It has come down more than it would be good in an uptrending scenario. Also, this whole move down is taking quite a long time compared to that uptrend. Yeah. So yeah, it's not looking too good. Generally across the crypto market, it's currently not for altcoins, not looking too good. A lot of the altcoins went back below previous highs. So you have here one of these highs for Cardano, which was at $1. Here, Cardano has managed to break below it and is now retesting that resistance line from below. And as long as this is the case and it can't break above it, we are in a downtrend. Absolutely in a downtrend. You can even draw, so let me take those previous patterns out here. I guess you can even draw a descending trend line here. And again, as long as that is in play, you are continuing to be here in this sort of downtrend. Yeah, so we nearly have 3 touch points here. Well, we've got various touch points here, 1 touch point here, and this could be another resistance level. So maybe another couple of days and then we could see another move here for Cardano. And in my opinion, it's currently looking like that we're coming down, but of course a resistance level can be broken as well. And if you see that, there's currently again a cluster of resistance levels here. If that is broken, we could see here some upside that could of course be traded if you want to do that, but we don't yet have a confirmed uptrend. We are still in a downtrend, and I told you before, as long as we are still for Cardano below $1.26, even better 163, that is even more important, we have still a lot of downside potential. And I think that warning was well placed because we are coming down again and we are getting closer here to the previous low at 75 cents. And I think it is still realistic that we could even see the 55-cent level for Cardano. So that risk has never been taken out of this chart. I've always let this chart on here, this yellow box, I've always left it on the chart here because we have never broken the 126 level. Now theoretically you can still see this here potentially as an inverse head and shoulders, but for that the price now needs to fast move up and complete that inverse head and shoulders. If it doesn't do that, if it goes down much faster, I think we can nearly see that as invalidated. But as long as you make a higher low, then that's fine, but you need to turn around and to go back into the accumulation phase here. And so far we cannot see that yet. So looking at the 4-hour chart, we see here a bullish divergence. Bullish divergence, a bullish crossover on the MACD on the 4-hour. Now this is probably going to translate over to the 8-hour, and here we're going to see a bullish crossover on the MACD. Now if this is playing out, it could also translate over to the daily, and here we already see the first change on the MACD. So we can see that we have the first light red bar. Yeah, so that means we could get back into a potential uptrend here, but we need a few more days to get the decision. But if you see that play out and we see this descending trend line broken, that could finally complete that inverse head and shoulders that I talked about. But for that, we need that trend line broken and move again back above $1. At the moment we are not there yet. Yeah, at the moment it's still looking like a bear flag. So again, tipping point, decision point here, and whenever there is a decision point, it is also a potential for a trade for everybody who wants to do that. Potential breakout point, back from a downtrend back into an uptrend potentially. But of course, as long as this pattern is still here as a bear flag, there's also a big potential to still go down. So it depends on how the market plays out, and then you usually see a big move, and that could then be used as a trade. But this is a very short-term view. In my opinion, that the crypto market in the short-term view is at the moment very, very difficult. What we can see and say is that we are in the last meters of the correction, at least that is my view, and Bitcoin still needs to move, complete its correction to the downside. That can still have a significant impact on many altcoins, but many altcoins have already sold off 70-80% from the all-time highs. That is already significant. Bitcoin still needs to move down, needs to make a move down, and that could, of course, it will have an impact on Cardano as well. So yeah, the 55-cent level is still a significant risk here on the Cardano chart, and I can just confirm we're not yet back in a confirmed uptrend yet. So it's still very much time to be cautious and maybe just accumulate if you want to get Cardano below $1. No financial advice, of course. Yeah, thanks a lot for watching. Hopefully you liked the update about Cardano. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe, and also follow us on Instagram and Twitter. We are much more active there now, post a little bit of additional stuff compared to what we just talk about here in the videos. And also make sure that you check out the channel membership if you really like the content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.